Alright, so this is the first part of my story for Spider-Man PS4. Yes, it's my story. I'm making it up. Or am I? Is it leaked? I don't know. Let's watch. So the game would start off with Spider-Man web swinging into Kingpin's apartment penthouse. And it would be really cool because within this tutorial mission thing, you would learn how to be stealthy or how to be in the faces of the bad guy. And you would learn that the combination of these two gameplay methods was really effective. From a story standpoint, Spider-Man has been tracking down Wilson Fisk for a matter of months with Yuri Watanabe and the New York Police Department. And he would have actually had met Yuri Watanabe at a crime scene after a gang war had taken place, and that was orchestrated by the Kingpin. So, back to this. Spider-Man will be inside of the huge apartment, and he'd be going through taking out bad guys until he gets to Wilson Fisk, and then you would have to attack from the shadows and then go back in the shadows and then attack from the shadows and then go back in the shadows and then go out and, like, you know, hand to hand in the face, whatever. You could do what you wanted. But at the end, Spider-Man would be victorious and he beats Kingpin, and everything is great because Spider-Man just saved the day, and he had been working with the New York Police Department for a matter of months on taking down Wilson Fisk and getting the necessary evidence to take him down. And now they just hit the jackpot because there is so much contraband in his apartment that there is no getting out of this time. They're finally going to put Wilson Fisk away. Spider-Man is praised by the New York Police Department. Everything is great. Spider-Man goes home to his apartment, which looks kind of filthy, and he takes off the mask, and Spider-Man doesn't look happy. You know, he should be happy. He's been working on this thing for months, and he finally got it, but he doesn't look happy. Peter looks kind of upset. And he lays down in his bed because he has work in the morning. I mean, he's a grown man. He's 23 years old. He's not working at the Daily Bugle anymore. He's a scientist, as Insomniac stated. So he wakes up and he's ready to go to work. He puts his clothes on, puts his suit on over the clothes, and he's about to web swing on out. And before he web swings on out, he looks at this picture, and it's a picture of him and a redhead. And he jumps out of his window and web swings away. He web swinging. As he's web swinging, he gets this call. The call is, Spider-Man, did you hear that? Do you know what's going on? And Spider-Man's like, what are you talking about? It's Yuri Watanabe. She's like, the New York Stock Exchange was just robbed. Spider-Man's like, what? And then he web swings, does that U-turn, and he's web swinging toward that. So at the New York Stock Exchange, we see these goblin-looking people. They're wearing like these masks or whatever, and they're walking out, and they start shooting at the police, and the police are shooting back at them, and they're like killing some police officers. And it's like, what's going on here? And Spider-Man arrives at the scene. Some of the goblin-looking people get into like these armored trucks, and they start driving away. Spider-Man's like, no, you don't. And now there's like a whole bunch of armored trucks on the road driving. So Spider-Man, this is gameplay. You then have to like take out the various trucks. You know, you played a previous Spider-Man game. You know how it goes when you're on top of a car. You know, so then you jumping on the car or whatever, and you got to take this one down, and you got to take this one down. Then you get to the third car, and this one is challenging. You know, it's real challenging because now these people are shooting at you, and one person has a rocket. He shoots the rocket at you, and Spider-Man gets out of the way, but it hits this building, a building that people are in. So now Spider-Man has to save the people in the building. Spider-Man goes in the building that's on fire, and he's saving people, and all that, and the truck keeps going. Spider-Man's like, no, you don't. After he saves all the people, he gets back to the truck. He's trying to take it down. He takes down the truck. Things look good. He's webbing up everybody. What's going on? Who are you? Talking to the police, talking to Yuri Watanabe. What's going on? They don't know. They don't understand what's happening, but something is happening. Who are these goblin-looking people? And we don't know yet. We don't know. Then Spider-Man's like, all right, well, I'm late for work. I got to go to work. He web swings on to work. As Spider-Man is web swinging, he calls Yuri Watanabe, and they begin conversing. And Spider-Man inquires, does this have anything to do with the goblin that appeared last year and just disappeared? And she's like, possibly. She's going to look into it, and she'll let him know. Spider-Man web swings, and he goes to his scientist job at Horizon Labs, and he's working with Max Modell. And Max Modell is like, Peter, you're always late. And Peter's like, I know, I'm so sorry. things are just not going well. What do you mean things are not going well? With what? His girlfriend issues? He's like, yeah, well, I understand that, but there are responsibilities and things that we need you to get done. So I need you to get them done. Peter starts working, and as he's working, he gets this phone call. The phone call says MJ on it. He picks up his phone. Hello? The woman is telling him that she left a few things at his apartment and that she needs to come get it. And Peter's like going kind of into a frantic mode. He's like, you don't need to get anything from the apartment. Listen, I'm sorry. Can we talk about it? She's like, Peter, I don't want to talk about anything. And then he's like, listen, I'll meet you at the apartment. And then Peter tells Max Modell that he's about to leave. Modell tells Peter that if he leaves early, he will not be paid for the day for the 5th time this month. Peter leaves, and Spider-Man hurries back to his apartment. You're web swinging back to the apartment. You get there, and Mary Jane is gone. There are just these keys that say MJ. She left the keys to his apartment in his apartment. It's so sad. Peter is upset. He's distraught. He's like, oh man, this is so sucky. It's so sad for Peter. But that will be a dynamic within the game. Whenever there are good things happen with Spider-Man, of course there's got to be bad things happen with Peter Parker. Duh, that's how life works. Then Spider-Man gets a call from Yuri Watanabe, and she tells him that the guys that he took down earlier that day call themselves the Inner Demons, and that she's been trying to get more information out of them all day. She then tells him that it seems as if they're trying to start where the Kingpin left off, and that if she gets any more information that she'll let him know. And Spider-Man's like, all right, thank you. So after that, Spider-Man goes web swinging, trying to clear his head, trying to, really get over the fact that he messed up with Mary Jane. As he's swinging, he gets this idea that he should maybe talk to his aunt. Maybe she'll have something to say that can help him out. Maybe some nice words, because she's always nice and wise. And he hasn't seen her in a while, so he calls her up and he's talking to her, and she says that she's at work at a homeless shelter, and he says, well, I'm gonna come by. And she's like, Peter, aren't you supposed to be at work? And he says something like, oh, I kind of left. And she's like, why did you leave? How are you gonna pay your rent? And he doesn't say anything. He says that I'll see you soon. He goes to the homeless shelter that she works at, and he sees her, and he begins talking to her, and he's telling her about how things with him and Mary Jane aren't really working right now, and how she's really upset. And Aunt May's asking what happened, and Peter's telling her, but we can tell that he's leaving out something. One big thing that has really messed up their relationship, and it's not that I'm Spider-Man thing. It's something else. But Aunt May ends up telling him just to give her some time, and eventually she'll come through. She then introduces Peter to her boss, Martin Lee, and Martin Lee comes by, shakes Peter's hand, and May tells Martin that Peter's having some problems with his girlfriend. And Martin looks at Peter and he gives him some advice. He says that, listen, there are positives and negatives in this world, and you need to always ask yourself if you're the positive thing in someone's life. And if you can't be that positive thing, then you need to understand what you're doing wrong and fix it and become that positive thing. And you need to remind her that you want to be that positive thing in her life. And if you can't be that positive thing, you want to let her know that you are working on it. And then everything will be all right. So Peter feels really good about what Martin Lee had just told him, and he starts helping out. He starts bagging canned goods, putting canned goods in boxes, giving them to individuals, putting them in trucks, and this is something that you're playing, and it's pretty cool. Some nice dialogue in between this for you to kind of get more of an understanding of Peter as a character, his relationship with Aunt May, and understand who Martin Lee is. And it's a really nice, warm-hearted segment. After that, Peter's about to leave. He says bye to Aunt May, and Martin Lee says, Peter, do you need a ride? Because he's about to leave as well. Aunt May says, you just got here. And Martin says, well, it's a very busy day. I have a lot of things going on. And besides, you're here. You can help keep, and then he says some employee's name in check. It's a joke. It's a funny joke. Ha 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 ha. Peter says, no thank you. I don't need that ride. Martin says, you sure? Peter says, no thank you. He says, alrighty then. And then Martin Lee leaves. Peter kisses his aunt, and he leaves as well. And he starts web swinging on about. So then Spider-Man's web swinging through the city. He just web swinging. His spider sense goes off. Swing, swing, swing. And he looks to his his left where the spider sense is directing him toward, and it's this building, and there are people on top of this building, and we see that this man is aiming a gun at Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like, oh, no you don't. Spider-Man web swings all the way up in the air, doing this little flippy thingy thing, lands right there, disarms the guy. It's a group of people. They all start attacking Spider-Man. He takes them all out. One guy's trying to run away. Spider-Man webs him back. No, what's going on? And then he realizes that this person that was trying to run away is Herman Schultz. He's like, Herman Schultz, how are you doing, sir? Why were you guys aiming a gun at me? Then Schultz goes, I just think that some new guys calling themselves the Inner Demons who start killing Fisk men, and Spider-Man finally taking down Fisk, a man that has been untouchable for months, happening in the same week, ain't no coincidence. Spider-Man then says, you think that the demons are working for me? And Schultz goes, water is wet, ain't it? Spider-Man then reminds Schultz of the event that happened earlier this morning where Spider-Man had to stop the demons from robbing the stock exchange. And Schultz says that Spider-Man did that to save face, and that the demons are either working for him or the police or both. So then Spider-Man asks Schultz if he has any more information, and Schultz ain't giving him nothing. Spider-Man's trying to let him know that I'm on your side for once, and that I'm trying to take down the demons. I need to find out who their leader is, who they're working for, and they're not working for me. Do you have any idea where they may be at next? And Schultz says absolutely nothing. Spider-Man then webs up Schultz and calls Yuri Watanabe, letting her know that she can come get these men that tried to kill him on top of this rooftop, and that the demons had surfaced this week and had started killing Kingpin's men only, and that something's going on there. Yuri takes this information, then she gives Spider-Man some information that she got from one of the demons that they have in custody, and that is a location of one of their hideouts. She tells Spider-Man to be careful and that if he needs backup, she will send it, just to let her know. Spider-Man goes, and he's very quiet and stealthy, he's going stealth, and he overhears one of the demons. By the way, there aren't many of them there, which is kind of intriguing to him, but he overhears one of the demons talking about a plan for tomorrow, this plan being them taking out more Fisk men. Spider-Man goes, they're going to kill more Fisk men tomorrow. Spider-Man jumps down, he got the drop on him, says a little quip, and he starts taking them out, he takes them out, and it's real cool, he leaves one left, and he's trying to get more information from this guy, but he's not giving him any information. He's not giving him anything. Big dude runs through, pops out, and starts attacking Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like, oh, no, you're not gonna attack me. Beats him up. He calls up Yuri. Yuri is like, okay, thanks for that information. We're gonna really keep an eye out. And yeah, Spider-Man then web swings, and he's calling Mary Jane, trying to get in contact with her. She's not answering. He goes home, and he goes night, night, night. The next day, Spider-Man gets up out of his bed, he jump outside, he going web swinging. Whenever I say web swinging, just think of like, you're doing your petty crime stuff, just beating up people, doing little crimes and stuff or whatever. Spider-Man's web swinging, he's like, I need to go to work. He goes to work. Max Modell says, Peter, listen, you're not fired, but I need you to really get all of your priorities straight. I want you to come back when you have that. And he tells Peter to go home. So Peter's not fired, but he basically is not getting paid, so that's that. So he's web swinging. He calls up J. Jonah Jameson, and he asks for his job back that he quit 3 years ago. And J. Jonah Jameson just says no and tells him that he quit, and that means goodbye. And then he hangs up on him. So Spider-Man is web swinging. He doesn't have a job. And he calls up Yuri, asking Yuri if she has any new leads, any new information. She says not yet, and she's working on it, and that she'll let him know. Spider-Man keeps on web swinging around, you're doing your little petty things, your little crime stuff. Then he calls up Aunt May, asking if he could help out at the homeless shelter again, and Aunt May says, what happened to your job? And he tells her that he was suspended because he's been late and absent a number of times, and she says that she's sure that Martin will be alright with him working there for the time being, and that he'll probably get paid for yesterday and today because Martin Lee is just such a great guy, and that whenever Martin gets in for the day, she'll ask for Peter, along with him asking Martin as well. So Peter says okay, and he goes there, and now he's helping out again, bagging up stuff, and he's supposed to deliver some food to another soup kitchen because Martin Lee is such a good guy that he wants to help out other soup kitchens as well. And this soup kitchen is within walking distance. So Spider-Man does not put on the Spider-Man suit. Peter Parker instead walks outside. And as he's walking down the street, he looks down this alleyway and he sees that this man is laying down. and he doesn't look that good. So then Peter walks into the alleyway and he sees that the man is bleeding and coughing up blood. He's been shot. He goes over and says, "Oh my goodness, are you alright, sir? I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the ambulance." The guy says, "No, don't call the police or ambulance." And he says, "Why?" Then he looks over and there is an inner demon mask on the ground. Peter picks it up and he looks at the man and he says, "Are you a part of them?" He says, "No, I was attacked." Then Peter realizes that this man must work for Wilson Fisk. Then the man dies and he looks at the outfit that he's wearing, and he's wearing this construction worker outfit. Peter immediately thinks of the unfinished Fisk Tower, which isn't that far from where he is. He puts on his Spider-Man suit. Spider-Man then lets Yuri Watanabe know that he just found a construction worker who was working for Fisk who was shot in an alleyway near Fisk Tower, and that he thinks that the Inner Demon's plan is to kill all the construction workers working at Fisk Tower. As soon as he said this, the call on the police radio goes out.
"Shots fired at Fisk Towers."
And as he's arriving, he's noticing that the demons are killing Fisk men, as Shocker had told him they were doing. So he's like taking them all out, you know, one by one by one by one by one by one by one. And they have this technology that is really cool. Spider-Man's taking them out, and he finds out that the leader of the demons is none other than Aunt May's boss, Martin Lee, a man that he met earlier. So then Martin Lee's trying to escape in his helichopper, and he's like has this wrecking ball thing that Spider-Man kind of created, and he's like kind of messing up the city. But Spider-Man stops it, you know, and he goes to stop Martin Lee. The helicopter's crashed and he saves the day in that regard. Then he goes down, he's gonna get Martin Lee, and Martin Lee grabs him, and Spider-Man passes out. And he wakes up on this rooftop, and it's nighttime. And he's like, "Whoa, what happened? And where's Martin Lee? Where are the demons?" And then he calls Yuri. He's like, "Yuri, hey, what's going on, Yuri?" And she doesn't answer. He's like, "Yuri, hello?" And she doesn't answer. And he feels real tired. He's like, "Whoa, I'm really tired. I need to get home." And he web swings back to his apartment. And he goes to his apartment. Then he falls asleep. So now, the next day is here, and Spider-Man wakes up to a knock at his door, and he's in his costume. He's not wearing his normal clothes. He's in his costume. So he's yelling, "Just a second," taking off his costume, and he opens the door in his underwear, and he sees that it's Mary Jane. And she said, and that seems like a very obnoxious place to cut. Yeah. So if you want to see part 2, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be doing the whole thing, my whole story, what I would do, and I'm going to be using things that are released and kind of making it my own stuff, you know. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. If you like this video, hit the like button. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Peace.